So this is via Paletti. In via Paletti, each player is going to have a different color of column in this Italian structure that we are in charge of. And throughout the gameplay is primarily going to consist of us removing pillars from one level and moving them up to the next level. And slowly the tower will get taller and taller and increasingly become more and more unstable until it suddenly comes crashing down and the game is over. So at the beginning of the game, you'll have all of the pillars on the bottom level like we do here. And then one by one, players will work around and pull out pillars so that they can get their pillars that score the most out. I am not making particularly good decisions because I'm just doing this really quickly and not paying much attention. But the thickest pillars are worth 3 points. Hexagonal pillars are worth 2 points. And then the skinny pillars are worth 1 point each. And once we get far enough to progress to putting the green level on, which will happen when no players feel like they can pull any of these out. So you'll probably end up having somewhere between 2 and 5 pillars on the bottom at that point. Just kind of depending on weight distribution and what people feel like. You'll move and place this next level. On your turn, you will pull a pillar out. If you reach in and you decide you're going to try to pull a pillar out, but you decide that pillar maybe isn't one I want to try to pull out, you can abort your attempt and kind of nudge it back to where it was, and your turn ends immediately. You can also, particularly when you don't have anything on top of this level yet, you can touch the floor and kind of steady it because it doesn't have enough weight yet to support it. When you place new levels, you have to make sure that they don't overhang over the base. And in this setup, my blue is maybe overhanging just a tiny bit, but it's not too big of a deal. It'll move around just a little bit while you're playing, so don't worry about it being exactly perfect. You just don't want to have it be, building out as a leaning tower off to one side, because that's going to be a disaster. When you place pillars on the next level up, you can't have them overhanging, which is likewise for just stability reasons. They need to be solidly on each level. Let's see. So, as we go, you'll move through the different levels. So you go from the base that you start with on the ground to blue, green, then yellow, then orange, and then red. And once you've made it all the way to red, the only way to get taller is for you to stack pillars on top of pillars, which starts getting pretty sketchy pretty quickly. On your turn, if you don't feel like you can move any pillars from down below, you can tell the other players that you want to place the next level. They get the option of objecting. And if they object, then whoever the first player to object is must select a pillar from further down on the structure and move it to the top. If they're able to, then that pillar is taken off and removed from the game, so it won't be scored. If they have failed to do so, if I come in and say, I can move this, never mind, I can't move that pillar, then one of their pillars is removed from the game instead. If nobody objects, then you get to place the next level on the tower. This is, however, your entire move. You don't then get to move one of your colored pillars to the top after placing the next level of flooring. So, as soon as one player has placed a pillar on top of the green section, they take the Master's Seal, which is used throughout the game just to indicate who has the highest score. As soon as someone else has surpassed their score on the top, they gain the Master's Seal, and they put the person's color that they took it from, on top. If you hold the Master's Seal and anyone else screws up and the whole tower collapses, you win the game. If you're holding the Master's Seal and you're the one who screws up and makes the whole thing collapse, whoever's color is on top is the one who wins the game. So it's just used as a way to remind you, this is the person that I took this from, so they have the next highest score.
Boom.
Yeah, you're youngest, so you've got to roll.
You are... What's the youngest?
You roll the Master's Seal to determine which color you are.
Mm-hmm. Yellow.
Okay, so you will be pulling yellow.
Okay. Well, you can pull any color you want, but you probably want to pull yellow.
Yellow is your color.
Green.
See, I should never do this.
Actually, that'd be you next, because we do clockwise.
Oh, sure. Okay. Blue.
You're red.
Apparently I'm red.
Okay, so yellow, go for it.
Where's my tool? It's in front of you.
Is it in front of me? Here it is, yep.
Oh, that's right.
Have that bad guy.
Cool. Forgot.
Get out here, Hexman. Oh, right. What are the points? Do we know what the points are?
The hex pillars are worth 3.
Yeah.
The fat pillars are worth 2.
No, the hexes are worth 2. The fats are 3.
Oh,
the
okay.
smalls are 1.
The other
So
way
actually,
around.
it's right here. So we get points right there.
Okay. I can never find it. It's because it's not in the text. It's in that stupid little...
Alright, so... Yellow... Where's my fat boy? There he is. He's over there. Wait, no. I'm green. What am I looking for?
Go ahead and pull yellow if you want, though.
Yeah.
The big green
Yeah, it's
pillars
right there.
Don't help him.
It's trapped over there forever. It's never coming out.
No, you should be able to get that out. Just
This
not right now.
Over here? Never.
For fairness' sake, I should mention I pulled my yellow hex before we determined that it was only worth 2 points instead of 3, but...
I mean, we can score them as 3, I don't care.
everyone else has pulled their not hex pieces.
Hey, you can get to
Okay, so what is the rule about once you touch something? Since you guys are just looking at
That
it.
if you abort your turn-ins.
I don't think so. If you abort, you have to put it back. Aborting attempt. An attempt to build which threatens to collapse, to cause the building to collapse may be broken off at any point. The column is replaced. The column is replaced and your turn is over.
Yeah. So you can abandon any of them, but you have to then try to slip it back to where it was, ish. Okay.
I'm fairly certain my red one is now stuck forever.
I don't think that's true. You'd be surprised. Yeah, I just kind of nudged it when I was trying to get mine, and it was pretty loose. You should be completely fine.
And everybody has gotten all the big ones out.
Yep.
But you can walk around the table if you want to as well.
Not necessary.
Not necessary at all, apparently.
you knock her over with your fat arm, I'm gonna laugh at you.
Don't you even start that.
We'll just kick you out. You're the worst.
Worse than that.
Well, it's kind of the worst. I mean, compared to...
Compared to... Bump!
Almost take the whole thing down.
Whatevs. Because I was shifting all the weight off of mine to someone else's. Oh, man.
Yeah, I can't move mine anymore. See, no, that would not last at all.
Don't you dare, Robert. Oh my gosh, I hate you so much.
Yeah. You actually got all... No, you didn't. Yeah, you did. You
He
got all of yours out.
Yep.
You got every one of them out. I cannot get that out. There's no way.
Well done.
Presumably this means that you are opting to place yours on top.
Which means you get to put it wherever the heck you want. Which also means that you don't get to pull one out this turn.
Well, you may, for formality's sake, he is arguing to place the next layer.
Actually...
You may say, I don't think that...
Place a new floor. If a player suspects the starter from move that she will not be able to move any column without causing the building to collapse, she may suggest adding a new floor to the building. The new floor must be the next in line according to the list and figure, blah, blah, blah. Other players may object. The first player to raise an objection must now remove a column of his choice and place it to the uppermost floor. If he succeeds, this column is removed from the game. If, however, the objector fails, the original player may take a column belonging to the player who objected from the building and move from the game.
Well, I know that your blue column can still be moved up, but what does that mean? Like,
That
don't...
means that you should move that up, because if you don't... So who is blue?
I am.
Is.
So you could object. You could pop that up there.
But then it would be removed from the game and I wouldn't
One
store
of
it.
his would be removed from the game.
Okay, so I guess I move your blue thing.
I guess.
Yeah. I think
that's what I was saying, like, I think that rule is written wrong. I think it should say if they think they can't move any of their pillars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, now it's my turn. And I definitely think that I can't move a pillar.
I don't object. By any means.
No. Nope. We're
Yeah.
gonna leave those three down
At
there.
this point, these are all fairly
I could.
evenly distributed.
You
Well, yeah, you can remove one. It's just not going to survive.
I've had the base stacked on 2 pillars before.
Well, yeah, but not with this distribution of weight.
Probably not.
You would have to shift this one.
Go ahead and
up
place.
here.
Go ahead and place that.
Yeah. So what?
So it must stay within
Yeah.
the base
Has to stay within the base. It does not necessarily have to stay
in the same
in
orientation.
the same orientation, though.
But
Which is kind of interesting.
you may wish it to do so.
Yeah. Otherwise, you severely limit the building placement locations.
Okay. All right.
Good to go.
Let's see. I should start with.
Something a little more. Yeah, I already stopped moving it, so I guess I can't adjust it.
I think I'm going to start by removing this pillar on this end. The pillar I want to remove is in a wonky place.
What do the rules say about you can slightly lift the thing, can't you?
You can, like, touch it and...
Yeah, you can hold on to the top one while removing yours.
Which I should have there, just because
Yeah.
it was kind of... Like, for when there's no weight on it, you kind of need to touch it just to keep it in place.
So since I touched that one, I have to take it, right?
Yep.
No,
You haven't moved it yet.
I did not
You
move
touched
it at all.
But you didn't move it. Once you've moved it and you abort an attempt, well,
If you like,
do you necessarily have...
if you're like reaching in to get to another one and you bump one, it's not like, oh, I moved that one, I'm stuck. It's more like, okay, just try not to bump other ones. But if you're like,
Poke, poke.
can I move this?
Yeah.
Then you're
That's an
committed to
attempt?
it.
Yeah. Okay. So, since you have poked at that one, you either go for it or you abandon the task.
Yeah.
And as we just said, you could lift the platform to pull it out and then put it back down. So.
Or at least steady it or whatever.
Yeah,
there's no
I
weight
think
on
that
it.
is totally a cop-out. Yeah, but it says it may be grasped and slightly lifted.
Yeah. I think it's for this when there's not weight on it, because
It'll just fall off.
It would just fall off like it almost did when I was doing mine.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's nothing to establish traction.
Yeah.
Oh, I am the holder of the builder's seal at the moment.
So, but it has
The master's seal.
Yeah.
For clarification, Adam, I literally set my finger there to keep
yeah,
it from
I know.
sliding.
I know, but that's the whole reason why I put that
you
part over there,
kept
because I knew it
track
was a
of turn
solid
order, so I don't
base
have any
for it
idea.
to wait on.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Well, the blue one was a solid base,
Mhm.
and then he moved his.
Whatever.
You just can't touch the floor while placing a column. So you are now the holder of the seal because you have the most points, but you keep blue on top because I was the previous holder of the seal. Oh. Come on, it's not sketchy yet.
It
Why are
looks
you
kinda
guys
sketchy.
all... It is a little sketchy.
What he's doing right now is a little sketchy.
I mean, we're architects stealing pillars from one level to move to the other. This whole thing is sketchy, guys. All right.
It's in front of you.
Thanks.
Should I be passing this now?
Nope.
No, because you still have the most
So
points
you've
on
got
top.
2 points.
I'm gonna get screwed.
I'm going to go ahead and do this one, I think.
Try to get that one in the middle.
No. There's just too much stuff in the way for me to get anywhere near that one.
Yep.
Ooh.
It collapsed. It's all over.
Okay. Oh!
Well,
But how does that count?
I don't know that it does.
The whole thing didn't collapse. We'll call it okay.
Yeah.
The game is over.
I think there is a rule about if you knock like a pillar off that there is a thing.
Do you have the hook, Adam?
You don't really need it.
Come on, you stop. Here.
I, however, will require the hook.
Yay, I'm not the only one with shakes. I'll take that though, this time.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah,
Sure you
it's
wanna
not
do
even
Yeah,
touching.
hand me the seal.
It's not even
Yeah.
touching the top right there.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, Katie, what happens, like, Katie has, I tied with her, so she should have it. And should have your color on it.
Yeah. If she has the most points.
We're tied.
I
But
have
yeah,
4
yeah.
points right now, but you've got
She has
6.
6.
Yeah. That is pretty.
I don't think that's supporting any weight.
It has to be.
There's no way it's not, honey.
Yeah, because this one
This one is
is
that one.
under
This
anything.
one is supporting it.
Man, that is so flimsy,
So
you
is
guys.
I know.
Yeah.
I set that one up.
But yeah, that one over there should be open. So I'm banking on it anyhow. So. Trying to bump mine out of the way.
It wasn't under anything. It will be this time.
Alright. Well. It's back to
I'm
you again.
calling it good and ready
Yeah,
to move the
yeah,
next
I
one
think
down.
I think so.
Yeah.
Place your fishy face. Or your fishy
Thing.
thing.
Someone tell me, like,
You can-
orientation, like...
As long as it
I
doesn't
can't
go
see
over
over
the
my
edge.
side to your side,
Yeah,
so...
yeah. It looks like you're okay on this side. Yeah.
Look fine?
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Okay.
Alright, my move.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well.
I told you he'd take forever.
Hold on a second here. So, hands slightly lifted, though.
You called me on that and you're gonna do it anyways?
You know what? I might do that. Because I want to move that one, but it's solidly placed on it. But if you can lift it, then I can yank it out of there and it'll be fine.
Is it fine?
No.
That doesn't seem fine.
That doesn't seem fine, does it?
You...
No. That is
Oh, it's gonna
it's
collapse.
gonna collapse.
Yeah.
You're gonna go
You
down.
gotta leave that in place.
Yep.
Alright.
That's your turn.
Dang, well placed, sir. Well placed. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, because I think 3 of yours are trapped under there.
2 of them are at this point.
3 of them are.
Actually, it might be all
I
3
think
of
it's
them.
3 of them. It is 3 of them now.
No, there's still daylight on that one.
Well, we'll see what we can do about that.
Before we get to your turn, see if we
Say,
can.
good grief, what did this turn into Screw Adam over?
I think it came in to screw the engineering degree over.
Wait a second here.
Even if it's a computer engineering degree.
No, if he's a hacker, we should just left it at engineering in your description.
I hate you all.
Me and my damn. That's bad.
Yeah. No, you're really bad right now. I think you might need.
Oh, let's see.
I
That
don't
the
know.
seal
right
came
there.
to me because I placed mine 1st,
Uh-huh.
and it has you on
And
top.
it has me on
Good
top.
job.
I had it.
You were
I
on
had it
board.
Under control.
I wasn't paying attention.
Well, dang. Just all kinds of screwed at this point.
Are you blue, honey?
Yeah.
I think you might be. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't move yours back there.
Yeah. I guess I'm.
Yeah, that's easy.
It's not quite as sketchy as mine was. But it's still pretty darn sketchy.
Sketch.
I think I'm the only one that came out of that one scot-free.
I hate all your faces.
None of mine were covered.
I mean, shoot, I've got 5 points invested in the structural integrity of this thing so far. This is very unfortunate.
Because you're a good engineer. You're trying to keep it safe.
No, I was trying to keep mine on the absolute maximum. So.
Come on, little brother. Plaything.
Ooh. Being out on that.
Wow. Okay.
Alright.
Blue moves.
Robert, you have one option.
I could pull this one.
You-
I could. Just
No.
as long as it was, fast.
No.
It's like Indiana Jones, you gotta get in. Indiana Jones TM. You gotta get in there. Just pull it out real fast.
Under no circumstances does that work.
You don't think so?
I can
No.
pretty much guarantee that's a no.
No.
What about this one up
No.
here? You think?
Nope. Just play your free.
Well, actually,
just play your free one.
theoretically, depending on how the rest of them are balanced, you might be able to. Wait, do you want to attempt it? Because if you attempt it, yeah, that's...
Shit!
Unbalanced and ka-chunk.
That means I win.
That does mean...
Via Paletti! Via Paletti, huh?
Yup.
What do you think about Via Paletti?
I would rather play it than Jenga.
I think it's interesting how people always seem to make that comparison anytime we talk about this game and I introduce it to them, where really they're like very little alike. I mean, they're alike in that you're building a structure until it collapses,
Yeah.
but like otherwise they're very different.
Well, you're talking to people who don't have a lot of background in games, and if you are telling them, hey, I play board games, and they'll be like, well, Monopoly, Clue, sorry. And like, you're trying to explain them Via Paletti, the only real, like, sort of tactile game that they have an association with from their childhood is probably going to be Jenga.
Yeah.
And everybody knows Jenga. So that's going to be the leap. They're not going to compare it to Bandu, because nobody's played that, or, people have played it, but, like, on the whole, that's a more...
The majority of people that we
game.
talk to, yeah.
Yeah, so... I would rather play it than Jenga.
Okay.
There's really... There's not really anything to dislike about it, I guess. Because it's just so simple and...
I beg to differ with you, sir.
Oh, you think there are things to... Okay.
The things to dislike about this game are the rulebook, because it's kind of a disaster.
It might just be our version of it.
It may be. We may just have a really bad version of that rulebook.
We have what I think is the cheap version of the game, so it's possible it's better somewhere else.
Yeah,
you can go online and get a better summarized version of it, and we just don't have it.
We've just never bothered.
Right. For instance, I guess this thing seems really pointless. The
it has a point. I understand it's really weird, but, I get the idea of, okay, you have the most points now, but this other person was the last person to have the most points, and if you're the one who screws it up and everything comes collapsing down, they win. If anyone else does, you win, because you have the most points. That's all it's there for. But it is, a weird, kind of clunky feeling way to do it. And I think it's just the way it's written about in the rules. I think if it was more clearly stated in there, that wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah. It seems like a silly component choice. It doesn't need to be there. I don't think it's that hard to remember.
You're in the lead.
You're in the lead, yeah.
I don't know. It's just a way to remember it. It's like a first player marker, right? It's not that hard to remember who the first player is, but we do all forget from time to time.
Well, I think a lot of games you could argue that the first player marker is the most unnecessary
It
component.
is.
So, I guess you can talk about the quality of the components.
Yeah.
Again, might be limited to this edition. Maybe not.
That we have kind of a cheaper version of this. I don't know if the variation of them not being 100% flat and the pillars being very slightly different lengths, if that's intentional, because it does make the game more varied and a little more difficult. You don't know. I mean, this pillar over here on this side at the bottom, this green thing is sticking up in the air off the table just a little bit. And if you pushed it down, then this may no longer be in contact, which it isn't. Where, right there, it is. So, I don't know. There's that little bit of variance in the quality of the components that maybe is intentional and maybe isn't.
But either way, it doesn't hurt.
I don't think it hurts. I think it works, Yeah. Even if it's just because they had cheap components and cut corners on it, I think it works for the game and actually maybe makes it better. Yeah, I don't really have that much to say about this.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
It's because it's so fast and easy to tell people, okay, now you're just pulling things out and move them on top and
build this tower.
Yeah.
It's a really easy pull it out and introduce it to people that don't play games kind of game that goes really quickly and it's a lot of fun.
And it might even be a thing that you could, take out with you to, I don't know, a more public setting and be playing it because it's building a physical structure. Other people might be interested.
Draw people over to you
and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially if you invested in that
the really
life-size version.
The big version.
Yeah.
So via Paletti, I am a fan. You a little less so.
I'm a fan. I don't really know how to rate it because it doesn't
compare well to anything else.
Yeah, it's hard to put it on a scale.
Yeah. If you had to, do you have any sense of what you would do? Because I don't know either. I'd probably be in that 7.5 range. So.
I mean, if you compare it to other things, you give that much score, you're like, well, I'd probably rather play this game with more depth to it. But, it's hard to...
But, I mean, for, a filler, for a short game,
7.
I would pull this out and play it over a lot of other filler games. So, yeah, I would say in that 7-ish range. So, via Paletti, if it interests you, pick it up. Check it out.
Don't do it. Don't do it! You can do it.